This episode of Bourbon on Ice, presented by Your Friend Frosty and your bartender, Mike Whiskey, is brought to you by the Cape Media Center of Cape Cod, Massachusetts. The views and opinions expressed during this podcast do not necessarily reflect those of the Cape Media Center. Listener discretion is advised.
Robare? Quick question. More of an observation, really, but you appear to be, moist,
It is a little wet out here.
but the sun is shining in the sky. Have you been up to some sort of crazy sexual exerting event? Oh,
No, I was just walking outside. That's all I need.
right. Eyebrows, eyebrows.
Yeah.
Okay, as Whiskey would say, roll the music!
Welcome, listeners, to Bourbon on Ice.
Where we talk about everything nerdy, like gentlemen.
Join us every week for our local Cape Cod take on, well, everything.
Laugh, cry, be confused, and laugh some more.
I'm your friend Frosty.
And I'm your bartender, Mike Whiskey.
Stay tuned. You think they'll like the episode?
Oh, they'll definitely love it.
Welcome, everyone, to a very special and extra creaky episode of Bourbon on Ice, where we discuss all things like gentlemen. We're gentlemen discussing all there are nerds who discuss
Oh my gosh. Frosty, you're losing it. You move outside of home and you lose it.
Also, I drank like 4 different alcohols last night within rapid succession. The room is still kind of tilty, and the sun, that big glowing orb outside, is kind of hurty.
The big glowing orb is rather hurty, and it's making me sweat a lot. Of course, all the leather I'm wearing could do it too.
Everyone, I am your friend Frosty.
And I'm your special guest star, Robare.
And this is another episode of Bourbon on Ice, where we discuss all things nerdy,
Like gentlemen. Except we're not really nerdy today.
Although we are nerdy people.
Oh, God, yes.
Oh my gosh, yes. Did you see... Seconds before we started the podcast, I gave him a late birthday present, which was, what was it?
It was like D&D dice with a character development sheet, so I have to make somebody up.
And those were TARDIS brand dice.
Were they?
That's why the digital interface. Oh. That's why the digital interface on the numbers.
Wow, I never would have picked that up.
One day you will join us in the D&D universe.
I have tried many, many times with other people, and it always ends badly.
But you haven't tried with us.
I haven't tried with you, so it's yet another opportunity to end badly.
Well, let's ask Whiskey, who is with us in air form. Whiskey, should Robare join? He's nodding. You have to do it. 2 against 1.
I'm up against Frosty and the air whiskey.
Air whiskey. That sounds like a low carb thing.
It's the new shoe, the air whiskey, when you're shooting arrows.
All right, so where are we right now? I think we should add some context here, because the two of us are sitting here in full leather, and while that's not really new for us, well, where we are...
You've got more leather on than I do.
Yes, I do.
I suppose I should have shut that off.
Let's shut that off now, and let me make sure mine is silenced.
Alright, cool. I'm vibrate mode now.
So.
Please pause for station identification. This never happened. Oh, actually, in the studio. It never happened in the studio because we thought about it ahead of time.
And we usually edit things out. But like I was saying, we should get back to telling everyone where we are, and that would be in Provincetown, Massachusetts, on the edge of Cape Cod. You know, that place that looks like a curled bicep.
That's right. So if you got on the looking at the bicep, we're up around the wrist. Maybe like the palm of the hand. Maybe where the fingers start. I'm going to stop.
You should stop now. Why are we here?
We are here for a special weekend called the Mates Leather Weekend.
Because we are leather men.
That's right. And what better thing to do with leather than to wear it at home or near home?
I'm just going to say, town full of leather men. I didn't get tied up once this weekend.
No, I didn't get to flog anybody either. And there were St. Andrew's crosses there. And
I'm just going to point out, most people assume that leather weekends and title weekends are non-stop, over-the-top sex orgies full of wild chaos. And I hate to say it, No, they're basically akin to high school reunions, which also have wild sex, but sometimes less.
I mean, people may assume that leather weekends are full of wild sex and kink, and all I could say is, I wish.
Basically, it's everyone running up to each other and saying, I haven't seen you in a year, or it's been so long, how are things? I follow you on Facebook and saw that your mother got run over by a truck, and your father has recently run off with his mistress.
And then we swap cake recipes. Tell me I'm wrong.
We are also fresh off the First Mates contest, where a brand new Mr. First Mate has been crowned last night. Our good friend Danny ran off with the title. I mean, he literally jumped onto the stage, like pushed everyone over and ran off into the night, cackling hysterically as he jumped onto a broom. If you knew Danny, you would actually buy this.
Oh. You had me up until broom, and I'm like, oh, he's not that like that.
Yes, he is.
If he, like, disappeared on a glittering rainbow, I could see
that. That would be Danny.
Yeah.
That I have to say, that dance he kept doing, like a little child on Christmas morning, the little, like, soft shoe, like, with his feet. And he was doing the fanning of the self. And I didn't do any of that when I won my title contest. I just cried and covered my face with my hands.
Yep, that's what you did. We had to pull the hands away from your face so we could take photographs.
Yeah. Congratulations, Danny. We're very happy for you. But we're actually here to talk about a different leather event. One that took place in the magical land of... Hang on, it's on the docket here.
Chicago, dude.
Chicago. Yes.
Chicago.
And that was 10 plus 10 years. Hang on, I can do this math in my head.
A long time ago.
Long time ago.
Yeah.
20 years ago, actually.
Yeah.
20 years ago in Chicago, our dear friend Robare was a competitor at International Mr. Leather.
That's right.
Or Immel.
Yep. So I try to dissuade people from pronouncing it as Immel, but they do. So we're going to let it happen.
I like to think that Bourbon on Ice personally had something to do with that. It's not true, but I'd just like to think it.
Right. That Bourbon on Ice has been around for a year and a half, has influenced a leather contest that's gone on at least 30 years by now. That's a little too timey-wimey even for you.
You act as though the laws of physics, space, and time can somehow hold me.
I assume.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we want to talk about this because 20 years ago is a long time, and, this is a big anniversary. I actually spoke to a couple of people, and, they had some thoughts about it. Mostly that it was chaos, all owing to Robare.
Wait, what? No, I was a good boy. I did everything I was told. I did not cause any, maybe a little drama, but not much.
Okay, now I want to know about that.
No, I didn't cause any drama at all. Like I said, I was a good boy.
Let's start out with asking Robare, what are you feeling when you look back on the fact that 20 years ago you took your big step into one of the biggest contests, arguably the biggest contests in leather?
I was amazed that I did it. I had no idea what I was doing when I competed for IML. I did not have any mentors to draw information from. I had nobody to coach me. I was literally on my own.
Sorry if you're hearing that in the background. That's the sound of the fridge in our apartment. But ignore that. It's keeping my tequila cold.
Oh, well, thank goodness for that.
And as anyone else will tell you, it's not something you just show up for. I mean, you happen to take a long journey to get to Chicago.
I did. So the reason I went to Chicago is I won the Mr. Boston Leather contest. It was not my intention to win the Mr. Boston Leather contest. For this contest, and all the others that I competed for, I just wanted to help out. Usually they would have only one or two people competing, and I would throw my hat in the ring just to bolster the numbers, but never to actually win. But this time around, the judges just thought that I was the best person for the job. I think partially because I could actually talk on the microphone and make sense and talk in a clear, concise manner and maybe make the audience laugh once in a while and make a point. And I think that really that's what did it.
Huh.
Because most contests have an interview beforehand, but this contest was thrown together so last minute, we really didn't have time for an interview per se. The judges still wanted to talk to us, but it didn't count to any score.
Oh, no. It's not that. It's just that you mentioned you being able to talk to people in a clear and concise manner, and that's throwing me.
You mean like the way I'm doing it right now?
I'm actually wondering if this is a Scooby-Doo situation where if I pulled off that head of yours, there'd be like some evil land developer underneath.
And I would have gotten away with it too if it hadn't been for you meddling kids.
And then, of course, the real you is bound and gagged in a closet, having the time of his life.
I wish, exactly.
What I will say is, you did this on a whim, but it grew into so much more. Did you regret it at any point?
Doing it? No. Wishing I had some help beforehand? Yes. Had I known then what I know now, I probably would have done a better job competing. But at that time, I had no freaking clue. I think I'd only ever been to one big contest before, and that was MAL. I went to MAL 2003. No, yeah, 2003.
That's the one in DC, people.
One in DC. Just so somebody could show me what a big contest would be like. So that was like my only heads up to this whole contest thing.
Now, we discussed a lot of this back in episode 42, Things We Do in Shadows of Dark Leather Bars.
Mm-hmm.
That was in December, actually. That was our second to last episode of the entire season, after which we finally learned what whiskey did to all of us with the Flux incident. Have we forgiven him for that yet?
Kind of.
Forgive but never forget?
Yeah. You know, the more we talk about the things that whiskey does...
He looks so sweet.
And then he laughs about it, which makes it worse. So it's like... He'd have to really turn over a new leaf for me to properly forgive him.
I think he is what he is. I think it does what it says on the tin by this point. I'm pretty sure that there's no dramatic metamorphosis in whiskey's future. I think this is it.
Maybe a wife would help.
He's got one of those coming.
I know. So maybe this is what it takes for him to mature.
The big thing is that they both want children, and they want them like now. Their families want children like now. So it's, as soon as they're going to have kids, they're going to be those children are our lives, people.
Oh, man. Birth control on standby.
They want 3. Well, she wants more, but he wants 3. And I'm just saying, like, you want 3? And he said, yes, they're going to be all boys. And just saying, oh, you adorable little child, you
God.
sweet summer child.
Wait, this means that he's going to be Elder Nerd.
He'll be the new Elder Nerd.
Oh my God.
The current Elder Nerd will vanish in a cloud of smoke as soon as the first child is born.
You'll have to find a different sound effect for his version of Elder Nerd.
He will pass on the mantle and ascend in a glowing cloud of digitized particles.
Yeah.
At any rate, like I was saying, episode 42, we discussed a great deal of this. Everything from local title contests in the New England area, past ones that have closed up, the secret, handshaky Darkwood Society known as Delta, and, of course, IML. But that was then. This is now. And I'd like to look back on your time with marked fondness. I wasn't there. So, we're just gonna speak to a couple of people who are not here, but have told me some things, and we can discuss your invasion of Chicago 20 years ago.
I think I'm scared.
You should be. Fear is, the motivator. That and spite.
Spite. Oh,
Yeah.
goody. This is going to be good.
The Cape Media Center, located in Dennisport, Cape Cod, Massachusetts, is a non-profit community media center and the public access TV station for the towns of Barnstable, Yarmouth, Dennis, Harwich, and Chatham. Our mission is to build community through media, enhance democratic communication, and facilitate free expression by providing these towns with a state-of-the-art media resource center. Members can become trained in our video and audio equipment and produce their own media content. Membership includes training classes, access to our field equipment, studios and facility, as well as airtime. Podcasters and music producers can share their content on our website. For more information, visit capemedia.org.
This episode of Bourbon on Ice is brought to you by Market Street Bookshop in Mashpee Commons, located at 31 Market Street, Mashpee, Massachusetts. Embrace diversity and find support for local authors and artists at the Market Street Bookshop, where your favorite new read is just a browse away. For more information, give them a call at 508-539-6985.
I was laughing, and then we did that whole list of 23 emotions. 23 emotions that you didn't realize are emotions that are words, and like 5 of them were German, and he was able to rattle them right off. And
Wow.
then he just kept bringing them up during the podcasting, and I said, you know what, can you come up with a list of like ridiculous German words? He said, I've got it.
Wow.
And like I said, I'm still getting over that ridiculous concept of grief bacon. It's like... You go into the fridge and there's, you know, the milk, the cheese, and the tin labeled Kummersprecht.
Grief bacon. It's what bacon is supposed to eat when you're like pissed or upset at something?
Yeah, that's what I love about it. Okay. All right. Now, your good friend Troy. Troy?
Yes.
I keep wanting to pronounce his last name, but I'm always afraid I'm not doing it right.
Pronounce it.
Ansetti?
Good enough.
He remembered you very fondly, and he said that the two of you made a lasting friendship.
Yeah.
That is a good thing to carry with you, like a badge of honor. But then I spoke to Scott Erickson, who politely declined being on the episode because, you know, there's just so much going on in town. But he wanted me to know all about how you, Robare,
Me.
he encouraged you to take part in a lot of the, I guess you would call it social rituals that happen with IML.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, towards the end of it, you know, after the contest, you just wanted to go.
Yep.
But he encouraged you to come back and, you know, take part.
Uh-huh.
Well, can you tell me a little more about what happened?
Sure. So we finished the contest, and I was a little disappointed that I didn't make the top 20. A little disappointed and a little relieved, because you had to make a speech if you made the top 20, and I had nothing. So if I was in the top 20, I was just going to have to make something up off the top of my head. Sometimes I'm good at that, and sometimes... Yeah. So there's a good chance it would have been one of those times, and I would have just, like, you know, fallen flat on my metaphysical face. But so we all get back to the hotel, and you know that the winners are off doing some sort of celebratory thing, and me, I'm just kind of like, I'm pretty much done with this. I'm just gonna go back to my room, have a good sleep, because in the morning I got to get up and take the train back to the airport and go home. And Scott Erickson, who was my roommate.
Oh, not just your emotional support. He was a roommate.
Semi-emotional support. Because he kept taking pictures of everybody else with my camera rather than taking pictures of me. And I'm like, you know, so there's like 3 pictures of me and like 15 pictures of everybody else. And I'm like, you know, I'm here. Of course, at one point I had to show him where the flash was from way up on high, and I'm pointing, realizing that nobody can actually see what I'm doing. Sorry, podcast people.
It's okay. I do that all the time.
Because you're always doing this with your hands.
Yes. Put those down.
Sorry. So Scott comes back to the room. He goes, "What are you doing here?" I said, "I'm sleeping. It's all done." He goes, "No, you have to get back out there and be with your classmates."
At which point he brandished a whip and shouted, "Yeah, yeah!"
Well, almost. But I kind of went, "Really?" He goes, "Trust me. If you don't do this, you're gonna regret it." And I'm like, Okay.
Well, as a result, you made some lasting friends and a lasting impression.
Yep. Like with Troy, and with pretty much every fellow contestant from Canada. And so the title holder, John Pendle, showed up. So I got a picture with him, possibly an autograph.
Aww.
Yeah.
It's so cute.
So yeah, I fangirled over him because he was a hot guy back in the day, and he still is a really sexy guy.
Very much.
Now, yeah. He's kind of put on a little, but it happened. But yeah, he's a really sweet guy. So I got to talk with him, and I got his autograph and a picture, and took lots of other pictures of guys. And that's the one thing I kind of regret doing, is rather than socializing with my fellow classmates, I was basically hiding in a corner taking all sorts of photographs.
You're preaching to the choir. I hate to be cold and cruel, but one of the biggest peeves I have is that when I go to leather events, no one takes photos of me. Mm-hmm. Because I move too quickly.
Right.
I'm always darting between people taking photos of them. So
Yep.
when someone genuinely wants to take a photo with me, it kind of throws me for a loop. Like, oh, can I have a photo of you? Like, what? Why?
Right.
I'm not doing anything worth of note.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And, because this is back in the day before cell phones were big. So, I'm taking pictures with an honest-to-God clunky camera. So it's not like people are just whipping out their cell phones and having selfies with each other.
I think that's so interesting. Oh, I just want to point out that Scott Erickson, who was there with you 20 years ago, was here this weekend.
Yes.
So, some of those lasting friendships. But at the same time, it's interesting that there are people who are linked to it. It's not some forgotten, far-off event that no one remembers.
Well, thank God Scott was there with me. Otherwise, I would have been hard-pressed to actually afford a hotel room. The title of Mr. Boston Leather got me into the contest, but I still had to pay for my own room. And they gave me some prize money, but it wasn't quite enough for the hotel. So if Scott Erickson wasn't my roommate, it would have been difficult.
Now, I searched around for some memories. I asked on my personal Facebook page, and a couple people did comment back. For instance, my buddy Spike Lederhund, he was a contestant in the bootblack contest.
Okay.
There are other contests at IML. I will say that, people. And one of them is the International Mr. Bootblack.
I think it's just the two. There's IML and I Bootblack.
Okay. But isn't that not going on anymore?
That's right, yeah. There's been an issue, so there's no bootblack competition as of now, and hopefully they may resolve their problems by next May, but I don't know.
He said that he did not win the contest, as there were a lot of contestants, and back then it was not even a judged contest. All the registered people at IML were given a ticket to vote for their favorite bootblack, and the bootblack who got the most tickets won the contest.
Right.
So you got to look at it this way. It could have been based on favoritism as opposed to skill.
No, absolutely.
However, you are still, competing with the, best of the best. My buddy Robert Forbes said he was there. He helped by volunteering.
Yep.
And my buddy Gary Jalewski told me to look at the 2003 IML anniversary book, as he is featured in one of the photos. He even gave me the page. He's on page 26. So if we look at it, we'll point and say, oh, there he is. And another one of my friends, Paul Freeman Jr., he said it was his very first IML. He'd only attended his first and only MAL to date that year earlier, because that takes place in, January?
What, MAL? Yeah.
The month where I think all of you are insane to be traveling, specifically to D.C.
Well, it's only really a big problem if it's an election year. Otherwise, it's rather quiet.
It's also cold and covered in snow.
Well, yeah, but you could stay home and be cold and covered in snow. So what? You have your leather to protect you.
4 years later, in 2007, he competed at IML as one of the contestants. He also said that year was an inspiration, that he'd never entered a competition or even competed for a title until 2006. So it was definitely a life-changing experience and made him who he is today.
Oh, wait. He said he competed at IML 2007?
Yes.
I was there.
You were there again? So you go a lot.
I've been 3 times. 2001, 2003, 2007. In 2007, I was just a spectator, so I must have watched him when he competed.
Looking back on 2003, my gosh, was I even born then?
Shut up.
It's all so hazy. Me being young and beautiful and hot. Yes, I'm fishing for compliments.
Uh-huh. You're fishing for a boots upside the head.
Anyway, yes, I am young, but I am not that young, admittedly. If I was that young, I wouldn't be sitting here. This is a 21 and up event.
That's right. Yeah.
It was driving me so crazy. Yesterday, a guy carded me.
Really?
Yes, I'm like, I have the armband right here. And he said, oh, no, I still need to see the ID. My feeling was, do you think I'd be in here if I didn't have... Okay, fine. Showed him the armband.
Uh-huh.
He was still suspicious. He was giving me the beady eye suspicion. Like,
wow.
Like I jumped the fence. Like, maybe I'm two children wearing a trench coat.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
3.
You're the one who's cruising for bruising, bro. Stop dancing.
Sorry.
It's not funny.
Sorry.
He's mean. This man is mean.
I am.
Okay, looking back on 2003.
Yep.
What were your feelings as opposed to looking back on it now concerning IML as a whole? I mean, I can only assume it must have been almost a mystical, unknown experience, but
yeah, totally.
you've got many of them under your belt. And plus, not only were you just going for the first time, you were competing. So, between then and now, 20 years worth of looking at it, how does it feel now?
It's a distant memory. There were emotions after the contest, after the whole weekend, that I thought sure would be with me for a long time. And they're kind of still there, but not really. I remember it fondly. I remember the emotions that I was feeling at the time. But, it was mostly just a weekend of, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And I'm just lurching from one calamity after another, hoping to keep my head above leather.
Calamities? You mean you mentioned the issues that happened during the contest itself, or are there other disasters that you were a part of?
Just lurching from one function to the other. So the first day when I'm there, picking my contestant number, then when I'm competing in my spandex catsuit.
The spandex catsuit that will live in infamy.
Sure will, because as far as I know, I'm the only person who's ever worn one for Pexton personality. So there's that, and then the actual presenting at the theater before they pick the top 20, and then the interview beforehand, and the signing of the posters, and then that one moment of free time I had where I got myself tied up in the leather market.
That does sound relaxing.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't so much tied up, but somebody when they had these cots with straps, so they pushed me against them, just strapped me in.
Was this, like, were you just randomly walking through when this happened, or did someone ask you? Because then that opens up more questions.
I think I ran into a friend of mine. He goes, "Oh, you're competing. Oh, you're here. Hey, you want to get tied up?"
Was he possibly an enemy in disguise and actually knew that you stood a good chance of winning and was, hoping that you wouldn't make it to the stage in time, all soap opera-esque?
Yes, that's very likely that. But he did let me go in time, so I was able to finish the show.
I'm just picturing, where is contestant Robare? Apparently, he has been tied to a bomb in an old abandoned mill.
That's right. We need somebody dressed as Batman to come rescue him. And I'm like, it's okay. I'm good.
He has a Batman costume. I've seen him in it. I will not say what he was doing.
It's a t-shirt with a cape.
No, the other one.
That was somebody else's costume.
But you were still in it.
I was still in it. In a video.
Sorry, I'm laughing at you because it's funny.
It was funny. It was a really good video where I didn't have to do anything. I just had to lie there and take it.
And make a couple of moaning noises.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Speaking of this week, let's see. I saw Scott, Tom, and you, of course. Can you think of any of your other friends that, were there that might be here right now?
No.
Really?
Really.
Wow.
Because at the time that I competed, there was no Bay State Marauders.
Ooh, the before time.
Right. Scott didn't start Marauders until either just before or just after he competed at IML. And I'm thinking after, but I don't remember for sure. So that's when the Bay State Marauders started. So all these people that I now know in the club might have been there, but I didn't know them. The year that I competed, however, was the very first time I was introduced to Sandy Mama.
Oh,
Mama's
Sandy.
Family. Mama Sandy, yeah.
The leather group known as Mama's Family.
Right, I was actually introduced to Mama Sandy. Scott introduced me to her.
And she was just there? Just...
Because she likes to go to leather events, and there's a good chance that she could have been, like, pinning various people into her family at the time.
I haven't seen her in so long, honestly.
No, yeah, she has a difficult time flying. She was suffering from vertigo for a while.
Oh.
And then basically, for her to come out here, we would have to fund, like, the flight and the hotel or have her stay somewhere. So it's a lot of work to get Mama out here.
I understand. But now that it's been 20 IMLs ago, do you have any plans on just popping back there?
I would like to go back at some point, but it's pricey.
Have you kept in contact with any of your other classmates?
Just a few. Like Troy's on Facebook, Stephen Blackwell's on Facebook, Douglas Connors is there. Basically anybody who's on Facebook, and there's not a lot of us on Facebook that I'm aware of. I mean, I could take the list. When we were done, somebody made up a list of people and our email addresses. And as far as I know, no one's actually used that list to contact me. But every so often, a name will pop up on Facebook, and I'll be like, hey, class of 2003, friend request. And they'll go, oh yeah, I remember you, done.
You were that weirdo.
I sure was. I wasn't the weirdo.
But you were definitely up there.
I was up there. I was up there with Maryland. Maryland is what they would say when he showed up on stage. I don't understand it, but that's what he would do.
I'm sure there's a story there, and I'm kind of paralyzed now. Don't do that again. That was weird.
Maryland.
Oh gosh.
Are you tired of boring and uninspired lunches? Done to death with coworkers and schoolmates making fun of you for your simple packaging? Well, now you can ditch those mundane paper bags and get the all-new Bourbon on Ice lunchbox. Made from easy-to-clean and dishwasher-safe stainless steel and built to last. Just watch as we run over the Bourbon on Ice lunchbox with a family minivan. Not even a scratch on it. Featuring two classic scenes from the Bourbon on Ice talk show with your favorite hosts, Frosty and Mike Whiskey, on either side and wrap around in nerdy imagery. The Bourbon on Ice lunchbox makes a perfect gift. Just listen to one of our satisfied customers.
All my construction buddies used to think I was wicked lame bringing the same old paper bag to lunch break all the time. But now that I got the new Bourbon on Ice lunchbox, I'm the one with the last laugh.
And when you call an order, ask about our extra-sized lunchbox. That's right, you can get our regular-sized and extra-large lunchboxes, all for the low, low price of $19.99. Call now at 555-LUNCHBOX.
Ah, Ween season. Yay, Ween.
You mean Halloween?
I feel that if you cut out 2 syllables, it's a shorter word. It's faster.
Oh, you think you're being trendy that way. Hey kids, let's go celebrate Ween.
Don't do that. Don't.
Rock on, kids. Woo, yeah.
Ween. It's dope, yo.
Totally, bro.
I put the word bro in the conversation so much now it doesn't even bother me.
Really?
Yeah, it just happens. It just happens.
Rock on, dude.
I use dude a lot less, but that's mostly if I'm about to call someone a complete nut a dumbass.
I used to use dude in place of stud back in my morally closeted days. Like if I saw a hot guy, then I would call him dude, but in my head it was stud.
Well, foray into the weirdness notwithstanding, we are now in the season of Ween, and unfortunately, Mates Leather Weekend is drawing to a close. We actually got to get going over to the barbecue.
Yes.
But something else lurks on the horizon.
Witch? What?
I was going to say, no, it's not a witch. Actually, 2 things now that I think of it, now that you reminded me. Spooky Bear is coming up. It's an event that happens here in Provincetown. It's a gay Halloween-themed week. There's viewings of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. There's dances, bar crawls, costume parties, drinking.
And a smeg ton of people.
And some more drinking.
Yeah.
I mean, that seems to be like one of the things that happens with Halloween events.
Yes. And there's plenty of bars here to choose from to get your drinking done.
And then there's me, who's mocking all the, quote, costumes. I'm sorry, I don't do sexy costumes. I don't like it when someone's like, I'm in a costume, and they're naked except for a jockstrap and a harness and a tiny little mask. I'm like, that's not a costume. You need full body coverage and body paint and theme music.
But if they're wearing a mask and you don't know who they are, that counts as a costume.
I refuse to believe that. Unless you're being painted blue like a Na'vi.
Na'vi?
You need to watch Avatar at some point.
Oh.
But after that is the next big title event for our area, which would be Mr. New England Leather, which also happens here in town. Any plans on running this year?
No. Oh, hell no. Nope, I'm done competing. Done.
So there's a chance.
There's a very slight chance, but it's probably not going to happen.
I would love to compete for that one of these days, but I don't have the time. Eventually, I will again. And when that day happens, I will enforce my rule upon all leather kind with an iron fist.
See, it used to be that I would always say, sorry guys, I can't go because I got this Doctor Who convention to go to.
Yeah.
But since they changed it to August, so I can actually go now and actually just watch. Yeah. But compete?
We could be roomies.
We could be, yeah.
Pillow fights. I fight dirty. I usually fill the pillow bags with other things that aren't pillows.
Like bricks?
Maybe. It hasn't been proven.
Yeah.
But just like this weekend, there will be a contest. It'll be a little more formal, and this is actually a feeder contest directly to IML. Yep. So whoever wins here will be on their way to
International
Chicago,
Mr. Leather
2024.
Wow.
Where they will be making memories, and in 20 years they'll be sitting down saying like, remember all that stuff that happened 20 years ago?
And they'll go, I don't remember a damn thing. They might.
Let's not be grim. Let's assume that they're going to have the greatest time, and they'll launch lifelong friendships, and that they'll probably even win.
Maybe.
In their heart, they'll win.
In their heart, they'll win.
Unless they actually win, which will be awesome.
It's been a long time since someone from New England won or placed at IML.
Well then, this might be the year where that all turns around.
Ooh.
2024. Let's see if we can sweep the nation.
Yeah. Do it.
That was some very dry enthusiasm.
I'm sorry. It's hard to be enthusiastic. Once you do a contest, the magic does kind of like fade a little bit because you know what goes on with a contest. The background, the foreground,
the foreplay.
No, wait, I don't know what you're talking about.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening. Recording from
Provincetown
and from Mate's Leather Weekend. I am your friend Frosty.
And I'm your special leather guest star, Robare.
And as always,
have a cold one on us.
Barbecue?
Totally.
Barbecue! We could make this a thing.
It is a thing.
No, I mean shouting barbecue.
Shut it off. We're done.
This must be what it's like for whiskey to deal with me.
Poor whiskey.
This podcast was recorded at and produced by Cape Media Center on Cape Cod, Massachusetts by podcasting duo Mike Whiskey and Your Friend Frosty. All music and sound credits go to soundstripe.com. Special thanks to Jamie Horton, Emily Tulloch, Gabrielle Rawson. For more information on Bourbon on Ice, visit our social media page at twitter.com/whiskeyfrosty. For more information on Cape Media Center, visit capemedia.org. For more listening options and a variety of podcasting entertainment, visit our hosts at buzzsprout.com and capemediacenter.org.